Out of all the disturbing stories that have been coming out of Canada since Mark Carney was elected Prime Minister, I have not seen anything as disgusting as what's going on at an ostrich farm in BC right now. So a couple of months ago, it was found out that 2 ostriches on a farm of 400 had the avian flu. So the Canadian government came in and got rid of the 2 that had avian flu. Now, the owners of this ostrich farm, called Universal Ostrich Farm, said that it was only 2 that had the flu and the rest of them were perfectly fine. The Canadian government has been harassing these people on their farm. The ostriches are so cute, you should see them, and the owners seem like very nice people. The Canadian government will not stop harassing these people. They are insisting on culling all 400 of these innocent ostriches, despite the fact that only 2 tested positive for the flu. The owners of the ostrich farm have been fighting this and fighting this and fighting this. They have fought it all the way up to, it's now with the Supreme Court of Canada. They are arguing that the rest of the 400 ostriches they've tested, they're healthy, they're fine. The Canadian government is refusing to listen to them. On Sunday morning, they cut off the power to these people, Ostriches Farm, at 4:30 in the friggin' morning. They cut off the power to their farm. They showed up 25 RCMP cars. 25 RCMP cars showed up at these people's ostrich farm. It had to be about 100 jackbooted thugs. The woman, the owner of the farm, is scared as heck. She has no power on, no ability to even see what's going on her own farm. And they have been there ever since. They've been at her ostrich farm ever since. And they are insisting on culling 400 perfectly healthy ostriches. It's disgusting. You look at these animals, they're clearly sentient beings. They're incredibly cute animals. The idea that the Canadian government, these jackbooted thugs, are going to kill these 400 ostriches without even giving the due process of the owners of the farm are saying, at least let us test these ostriches again. Let's prove that they have avian flu before you literally murder them all. And the Canadian government is saying no. Meanwhile, we have 40 criminals in Vancouver who committed 6,000 crimes in the year 2024. An average of 150. Crime is through the roof in Canada. Since Justin Trudeau was elected, violent crimes are up 80%, crimes against women up 100%, petty crimes up 200%. And you're telling me that the Canadian government, the Liberal Party of Canada, is sending hundreds of RCMP officers out for days at a time in order to cull ostriches? This shows you where the priorities of this sick, globalist, liberal government is. Canadians need to wake the hell up. This is disgusting. This is one of the most disturbing stories I think I've ever read in my entire life. It's a perfect exemplification of these nameless, faceless governing bodies like the CFIA, which is in charge of this operation in Canada, the WHO, going through with these absolutely disgusting acts when they say, oh, we were just following orders. We were just following orders. How in Canada can we justify murdering innocent animals when the cops should have a million other things to do? Violent crime rates in this Canada have nearly doubled, literally doubled in under a decade. If you walk around on our Canadian streets, you know it has become dystopian. The amount of open crack smoking on our streets, the amount of open violence on our streets, the amount of foreign flags shouting the most vile things you've ever heard with fake body bags on our streets. If you've lived in Canada for the entirety of your life, it is undeniable. This past decade since Justin Trudeau was elected and then taken over by Mark Carney, our streets have gotten so much more dangerous, and this perfectly exemplifies the perverse and sick priorities that our RCMP have. They don't go after criminals. They let people like Daniel Senecal, who disgustingly essayed a young child, only went to prison for 12 months and then ruined another 3-year-old's life a couple of months later. They're let out in incredibly shorter. Violent criminals consistently let out on bail. We have some of the most lax bail policies in the entire Western world. It's gross. The Liberal Party of Canada literally hates middle and lower class Canadians. They don't live in neighborhoods where they see this crime, but they let criminals back out onto the streets time and time and time again because they want to empathize with the criminals. Well, meanwhile, the rest of us Canadians have to deal with it on a daily basis. But when it comes to innocent animals, they're jumping at the gun to waste resources and murder them. It shows how perverse the liberal ideology is and how disgusting it has become. They claim to be the ones who are empathetic. They claim to be the ones who care about the downtrodden. But this perfectly exemplifies yet again, they are a group of haters. And where are the animal rights activists on this? Animal rights activists usually vote Liberal. They're usually quite left-wing people. I have yet to hear any animal rights activists in Canada come out and speak about how wrong that is. We have 400 perfectly healthy ostriches living out in BC, and the Liberal Party of Canada is saying that they need to be killed. If there was ever a time, I would think, for animal rights activists to get out and make noise about something, this would be it. But I've been looking all over the internet. I see barely anything. And our propagandistic media, this is why the Canadian people get hoodwinked by the Liberals. Our propagandistic media doesn't do any reporting on this. I've looked at the CBC's website, CTV's website. There is zero reporting on this story going on. Zero reporting. Innocent animals being slaughtered in Canada. You literally have the owners of the ostrich farm crying, bawling their eyes out, and there is absolutely zero reporting on it. Some independent media will do some reporting, but actual mainstream Canadian media, CBC, CTV, you're seeing absolutely nothing. So I challenge Canadian animal rights activists to make your voices heard about what's going on in BC right now. How disgusting this is. How perverse our government's priorities are. A government that has allowed 8 million people in the country in the past decade, when we have a housing crisis, when we have 70,000 excess Canadians dying every single year because they can't get the health care they need. The system is overrun. Violent crimes up like crazy. A Canadian government that is stomping on our charter rights and freedoms through Bill C9, Bill C4, Bill C2, trying to literally destroy. They literally don't want me to be able to make videos that are criticizing them for murdering 400 ostriches. They're trying to pass bills right now, so-called hate speech laws. They're not hate speech laws. They're laws that stop speech that they hate. They want you only to be able to get news from the CBC, CTV, state-sponsored propaganda that they pay $1.5 billion to spew their BS. That's exactly what they want. You go look at the CBC's website. You go look at the CTV website. There's absolutely no reporting on this disgusting story going on out of BC. And the reason is because they are paid off shills. If the Canadian government is allowed to destroy independent media, which is what they're currently attempting to do through Bill C9, this country is done for. There will be no deterrent for what is a tyrannical government. They like to put this woke veneer of friendliness on them. These guys are straight up authoritarian. There's not a doubt in my mind. What we're seeing right now in BC is a total aberration. It's disgusting, and Canadians need to wake up to what's going on. Please like, share, subscribe to this video, hit the notification bell. Join, become a member if you're interested in supporting my work. I want to spread this as far and wide as possible because you're not seeing any reporting on this in the mainstream media. If you're following on TikTok, make sure you're following YouTube, youtube.com/@FightForCanada, because I'm nearly 19K followers, and the Canadian government's not a big fan of distance. We need to save these ostriches. This is disgusting what's going on in Canada.